So housing turnover hits lowest level in 30 years. Let's see what this story is all about. So lowest in 30 years. Tom, I'm going to read it, and I'm coming to you. The housing market has hit its lowest turnover rate in 30 years, with just 25 of every 1,000 homes changing hands in 2024, according to Redfin. This is a 37% drop compared to the pandemic buying frenzy in 2021, and 31% fewer homes than 2019, which was non-pandemic. Elevated mortgage rates, record high home prices, and political and economic uncertainty has caused potential buyers and sellers to take a wait-and-see approach. Redfin noted that despite more inventory than last year, listings are still far below pre-pandemic levels. Scott Harris, associate broker at Harris Residential Team, noted that while lower mortgage rates are making buyers very enthusiastic, sellers are hesitant to move due to more than 60% of mortgages being locked in below 4%. However, Harris added that as rates slowly drop, the market is becoming more attractive for sellers. Tom.
This is the latest in a really sad story for mortgage brokers and realtors. The industry, the mortgage industry, is trying to say, oh, things are okay. It was up 25% year over year. When you hear those percents, what it really means is you're up from next to nothing to now a little bit more than nothing. And right now, what this means is that the houses used to sell, 25 out of 1,000 houses is what's selling right now. This is horrible. You had years where we would have 100 out of 1,000 homes would sell, trade hands. Somebody moves out or moves to a bigger house in that city. Somebody buys their house. And this is just showing how bad it is. And but there's hope coming, but it's going to be coming slow. It's going to take probably another 2 years. I reached out to people I know in mortgage markets and analysts. I talked to Bruce Norris in San Diego 2 days ago and asked him, and he said, look, buyer interest is as high as it's been in 3 years, even though the interest rates aren't back down to where they were 3 years ago. The interest is there, and people are getting, enthusiastic, but inflation has wiped out the down payments for many middle Americans, number one, so they don't have the down payment to go in. And number two, the people that are in those other areas and us in Florida, we know how it works. People have to be willing to sell their house in New York, Connecticut, New Jersey, Pennsylvania before they move down to Florida. And right now, Florida homes are more expensive than they've been. And it takes, and we all know what happened to home insurance, more expensive. And therefore, if your home's expensive, then your property taxes are up. And suddenly it takes a heck of a lot more income to even afford the house. So the turnover rate is just showing how bad life has gotten for people that are in the industry. And it's still going to take about 2 years coming out of this. There's a couple bright lights. Interest rates coming down is a bright light. And if you go take a look at the home builder index, Lanier, Toll Brothers, things like that, you are seeing stocks that are doing very well because there's never been more built over the last decade. Right now, we're at peak building, believe it or not. But the building's going to take time to catch up so that there's enough of supply of new homes. And the new homes are further from city centers. So they're in the more suburban areas, which means and we're going back to work, less work from home. So there's some things here. It's still not the perfect time for people to buy unless you're in a region where the prices did not spike so much and you've got the down payment now with the interest rate around 5.875, 6 and an eighth, you have an approachable situation where you can actually buy a home.
So the question is, should you buy a home now or not, right? So you ever see like two guys where they're like gonna get in a fight and it's like, what's up, you wanna go? And the other guy goes, yo, what's up, we wanna go? And they just do this song and dance, what's up, make it, and they just keep going back and forth and you're like, is someone gonna do anything here?
Yeah.
And you know what happens? Nothing. That's what's going on in the real estate market right now. Is it a buyer's market? Is it a seller's market? I don't even know. There's no deals going on right now. This is the lowest, The lowest turnover rate in 30 years? So there's just no deals going on right now. It's like, hey, you want to make a move? You want to make a deal? It's like, no, because the sellers don't want to sell because where are they going to move? They're going to go basically get a higher interest rate. They're at basically 3%, whatever it is. Then they got to go sell their place and move into a 7% interest rate? That math doesn't add up.
Or move to Florida and actually cost them more for the place that's downsized over what they sold in the Northeast. And so they come in to retire.
Everyone's doing the math right now. And they're like, well, I would do this if I can get it. The interest rates, what's a current 30-year fix? 6.9? 15 years, 6%.
Six and a quarter for good credit.
So
5875
good
if you buy
luck,
one
good luck
point.
to Americans who got good credit. Not that many, but I just don't think there's many deals happening. And we see all the time, the mortgage guys that were making $1 million a year. They're like, yeah, I'm looking for a new job right now. It's the wait and see. You said this yesterday in the BDC meeting. What's the phrase that I use most often? You remember you did that, and you're like, we'll see. That's what's going on in the real estate market right now.
Vinny, you've been looking around. You've been looking around for a place, and you've been also, what did I say? Go get smarter, right? Smarter about loans, smarter about neighborhoods, smarter about HOAs.
Yep. And then, by the way, because I told Pat about this. Did you guys know the income required to afford the average house in the United States from 2020 to 2024 is? In 2020, Tom, it was $53,679. Guess how much it is in 2024? Take a guess.
You got to make
$121,398. Well, Rob, I just slacked you a chart. So, mind you, millions of illegals are provided by the government with money from our housing.
2020
wait.
Show this chart.
Very
to Pat.
important.
Yeah.
Vinny. Show the chart.
Show the chart. And Pat, look at this. Robbie, can you make that? Look, this
Just
is
4 years ago. You're saying it was what?
it was in
Zoom in
2020.
to the right. Zoom into the right, right there. Yeah. So 2020 bottom. We can. That doesn't mean anything, Rob. If I can't see it, there you go. So 4 years ago, to buy a house, I needed to make how much money? You said.
So it was $53,679 in 2020. Wow. In 2024, it's $121,000 to afford a house. And this chart is the income housing gap, and it's
But what is the number? The $121,000.
It's not on this chart. It's not on this chart. But this is the house sales price income ratio from the 84 to 2020.
So 2000 income needed to buy a house.
So for the average house in the United States of America.
Afford an average house. Where did you get those stats from? Give me the exact income, because I want to actually see this.
It was $53,679.
$679. Afford house.
To afford an average house in the United States from 2020, and then in 2024, it's $121,398.
So here we go. So I just found it where in 2020. Okay, Rob, if you want, because this is very, very.
That's a lot.
No, it is.
That's
I've
4
not
years.
seen this article.
Yeah.
I have not seen this article. Rob, pull up the article I just sent you. It's the Zillow article, if you could, Rob. And maybe the numbers are a little bit off, but they're right there with each other. So this article here tells you, zoom in a little bit, home buyers need to earn an extra, and by the way, this is 8 months ago. Home buyers need to earn an extra $47,000 more in 2020 to buy a place. So the income needed to comfortably afford a home is up 80% since 2020. While the median income has risen only 23%, that additional 57% arbitrage. So those shopping for homes today need to make $106,000. Again, this is 8 months ago.
Yep.
Comfortably afford a home. Mortgage payment on typical house nearly doubled since 2020. Pittsburgh, Memphis, Cleveland are the most affordable markets. There we go. Let's move to Cleveland. That's what we should do.
Pat, sell the property.
Yeah. Households in California need to make the most money to afford a house. Home shoppers today need to make more than $106,000 to comfortably afford a house. According to Zillow, in 2020, the average income was $59,000.
Bidenomics. Let's go, baby. Let's go. Look, 4 years.
There you go. The house price goes up.
Yep.
So as soon as you buy it, your property taxes are up.
Yep.
Then going to insurance, you have to pay more for insurance just to insure it. But the insurance has inflated 20%. And now once you live in the house, all the groceries and stuff, and the electricity and cable TV is up 30%.
Yeah. Tom, just saying all that makes me want to vote for this past 4 years. I'm voting for Kamala Harris and Waltz.
I call it the American scream instead of the American
And what percentage
dream.
of Americans even make over $100,000?
That's a great
Take a
question.
guess.
How much?
Less than 20.
15%.
Okay.
So, especially younger people, millennials and Gen Z, the people under 40, you have one big problem that you're facing if you want to buy a house. It's called math. The math just doesn't add up. You're not making enough to buy a house. You can't put enough for a down payment. The interest rates aren't there. Housing is, the average price of a house is at an all-time high, $450,000 right now.
Yep.
The average person's making $50,000. You got to make $120 in order to buy a house. Why do you even need a house? Go rent a room with a roommate. Like, the math just isn't adding up, especially if you're younger. And this is why we just saw turnover rate, AKA people even selling their houses, is at a 30-year low. There's no inventory. There's no supply. The demand is high, but you can't afford a house. Like there's no deals going on right now. So just rent and chill and save that money and pump it in the stock market. It works for other people.
Well, I mean, obviously we're seeing what's going on with this. This number is real because it's either property value is going to go down, which is not. Income's going to go up, which if it does, everything else that has already gone up in inflation is going to go up even higher.
Yeah.
Profit's going to go down. People are going to get laid off. The knobs, there's only so many knobs to play with here. Yeah, this number does not add up. The 23 and the 80 is what doesn't add up. How do you make up that 57%?
Yeah.
Really, though, how do you make up that 57%? It's lower rates, lower value, increase income. That's the only thing you can do.
Or the only thing that the government can do potentially is subsidize first-time home buyers, right? Help people start families. Starting to see these things like child care reform. Because the reality is, younger people in America, you cannot do what your parents and your grandparents did if you actually want to be wealthy and successful. You can't. The math isn't there. You can't just go buy a house, work for the same company for 40 years, pay the mortgage down, have the 2-car garage. You don't make enough money. It's just the numbers aren't there, so you have to do things differently. But there's an opening in the marketplace. There's opportunities, and this is where people are going to come in and take advantage of arbitrage.
I got a big announcement to make. The property I'm on right now, we've been working on buying this property for the last 3 years. It's one of its last kind in America. Why? It's on 11 acres. It's got 2 hangars. It's on an airport. Upgrades of $7 million made here. That's going to be the new headquarters of Valuetainment, Menek, David Consulting, the podcast, the whole 9. And what we wanted to do, we want to find a way to celebrate this as a new headquarters with inviting you to an event on November 5th, which is election night. A lot of different things people will be talking about, business owners. What's going to happen if it goes this way? What's going to happen if it goes that way? So imagine 2,000 people being here. Let me show you around. Some of you will have a private meeting with me. That's the elite. That's going to be a few of you. Some will get a private tour of the entire office from us. There's a hangar in the back. So you come up here. Imagine there's going to be a couple major tents, 40 feet by 100 feet, where some of the people that are buying general tickets will be there. But over here inside the hangar is where the podcast will be held. This entire thing will be open like it is right now. Inside of it, myself, the PBD podcast crew, some of the super VIPs will be invited to go upstairs in a section that we have that's got a bar, a restaurant, food, kitchen. You're eating, you're watching it from all the way up there while we're doing the podcast down here in the hangar. So imagine in this room, there's 1,000 people, right? While we're going through this whole thing. Conversation, it's going to be from 6 p.m. is when it starts, all the way up to 2 o'clock in the morning. Who knows? Maybe we'll go 3, 4 o'clock in the morning because a lot of things that's going to be going on. And by the way, do you know why we're not cutting this? We're on an airport. These are planes. We have to hear because right here is the airport. And FYI, Messi plays right there at that stadium right behind us. There's 5 ticket tiers that you can purchase. Each one's got more things to offer. But even locally, there's general tickets to buy for just $75. Bring your wife, bring your husband, bring your family, bring your friends. There's one caveat after you buy the ticket. When you buy the ticket and you come on November 5th, you have to wear Future Looks Bright gear. I'm talking Future Looks Bright hat, a shirt, doesn't matter. You're gonna have to show I got some kind of Future Looks Bright gear because we want everybody here to spread the message and the energy of optimism around the world, back to their states, wherever you're going to be. So November 5th, click on the link above or below, get registered. And if you're watching this saying, well, Pat, I like to travel private. Can I bring my private jet here? 5 of you guys will be after you buy your ticket. Then you can ask us, and that's only available to the tickets at the highest level possible to bring your jet and park it here. So having said that, get your tickets, and I cannot wait to see you November 5th, 6 p.m. at our new headquarters in Fort Lauderdale. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye, bye-bye.
So if you like this clip and you want to watch another one, click right here. And if you want to watch the entire podcast, click right here.